I'm here at Panasonic Europe's headquarters in Wiesbaden, Germany, where the company has unveiled its full 2025 TV lineup, including these three fantastic OLED TVs I have behind me. But first, let's talk about OLED TVs on the market that are using the new 4-stack OLED panel, also known as Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel from LG Display, namely the LG G5, the Philips 950, and this Panasonic Z95B I have behind me here. But I believe that it is the Panasonic that will gain the most from this boost in brightness and color gamut afforded by the Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel. And the reason why I say that is because in last year's shootout, the Panasonic Z95A, its predecessor, came up short in high color luminance and suppression of near black chrominance overshoot. But this year, I believe that with the inclusion of this Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel or 4-stack OLED panel, Panasonic has fixed it. Previously, it was 2 blue layers and also yellow plus green layer. But the yellow plus green layer has been separated to a distinct red and green layer with 2 blue layers which has been updated with the latest phosphor. This provides not only higher luminance efficiency, but also increases the color purity, and hence you can achieve an even larger color gamut, which is native to the panel itself. So last year, the Z95A suffered because it didn't have the dynamic color boosting technology that LG has implemented on the G4. But this year, the increase in high color luminance and also increase in the size of the color gamut coverage is native to the panel itself. And a second thing was the lack of suppression of near black chrominance overshoot on last year's Z95A. I believe that Panasonic will be fixing this year as well. Besides this, what Panasonic has done is to implement a really advanced heat dissipation system using aerodynamics. They call it thermal flow, and they have moved the top speakers and redesigned the whole chassis such that airflow can go from the bottom and directly up to dissipate more heat. And by keeping the panel cool, they can allow the panel peak brightness to be sustained in a longer manner and also reduce the incidence and risk of image retention and also permanent screen burn. Perhaps this may allow the Panasonic Z95B to achieve some of the highest peak brightness among all the 2025 OLED TVs on the market today. Also, I need to stress that the Panasonic Z95B will have some heat dissipation material already in the 4-stack OLED panel, but it is the addition of this thermal flow component that may elevate the peak brightness in a more sustained manner. And certainly, at this event, Panasonic was very keen to showcase the principles behind this thermal flow technology. They basically showed a Z95B with some vapor, which is harmless by the way, came up through the vents in a clearer and faster manner than the Z95A. Now, normally I would feel really alarmed if I see smoke coming out from my TV, but this is a special case where I think the Z95B certainly excel in terms of the smoke coming out in a clearer manner from the vents at the back of the TV itself. Now, the Panasonic Z95B will be using the HCX Pro AI processor Mark II, which is based upon a Panasonic 700 chipset. This means that the TV will have 2 HDMI 2.1 ports capable of FRL signaling and 2 HDMI 2.0 ports. It is capable of going up to 4K 144Hz refresh rate, allowing some PC gamers to take advantage of the extra refresh rate beyond the 4K 120Hz that the Xbox Series X and also the Sony PS5 is capable of. In terms of the design, they have gone for a more harmonious finish with your living environment. The front-firing speaker is covered by acoustic cloth, which is meant to actually soften the metallic or plasticky finish found on previous Panasonic TVs. And it is more rounded as well, trying to veer away from the boxy kind of design that Panasonic has been known for. Now, the Panasonic Z95B will come in 3 screen sizes of 55, 65 and 77 inches, and all 3 will be using the latest 4-stack OLED panel. And because the new 4-stack OLED panel is capable of even higher peak brightness, what Panasonic has done in the picture menu of the Z95B is to set the luminance value at 70 as the default for HDR. This will adhere to the PQ curve, to the maximum peak brightness that the TV is capable of. But if you feel compelled to increase the midtones and also the peak brightness for watching in a brighter environment. You can increase the luminance setting to above 70 to even 100. Now, let's talk about the step-down model from the Z95B, which is the Z90B. This will be using a high-spec OLED DX panel from LG Display. It won't have MLA technology, but it will have a heatsink, a heat dissipation layer, to allow for higher peak brightness than what a conventional OLED DX panel is capable of. It will also be using Panasonic's most advanced HCX Pro AI processor Mark II. It will come in 5 screen sizes of 42, 48, 55, 65, and 77 inches. But the 42 and 48-inch models won't get as bright as the larger models because of higher pixel density and hence lower pixel aperture ratio. Last but not least, the entry-level OLED TV from Panasonic for 2025 is the Z80B. This is very similar in terms of design and picture quality to the Z80A from last year. It will have a 4K 120Hz panel. It will use an HCX processor, and it is still based upon the Panasonic 700 chipset, which means that it will have 2 HDMI 2.1 ports and 1 HDMI 2.0 port, giving it a total of 3 HDMI ports. It will have a basic OLED EX panel, which means that it can't go as bright as the Z90B. And also, it has a semi-gloss front finish, which means that it doesn't give you that sort of depth that a full gloss panel like those found on the Z95B and also the Z90B can give you. But besides that, it will come in 3 screen sizes of 48, 55, and 65 inches. Another difference between last year's Z80A and this year's new Z80B is the feet configuration. Last year's Z80A is supported on a central pedestal stand, whereas this year, the new Z80B is supported on a pair of feet near both ends of the display. Now, having covered all 3 Panasonic OLED TV for 2025, I want to stress that there are several unique selling points that I believe separates this Japanese brand from other OLED TV manufacturers on the market. Number 1 is the picture accuracy side of things. New for 2025 and for a long time since maybe the EZ series, Panasonic is now supporting 3D LUT calibration in conjunction with portrait displays. This means that you can actually use portrait display software with a compatible meter and also signal generator to achieve reference level picture accuracy by uploading a 3D LUT to the TV. There are 5 custom slots that are available, so you can use it for HDR, you can use it for SDR, you can even custom load it with some sort of creative LUT. So that is advantage number 1. Advantage number 2 is Panasonic's adherence to the filmmaker's look, to the creative intent. They don't want to tamper with the original source, so they won't add any unnecessary sharpening, they won't add any unnecessary noise reduction to the picture. Now, this year we have seen LG and Samsung and also Sony, they have added some sort of dynamic sharpening, dynamic edge enhancement or micro contrast enhancement to their flagship OLEDs. And from speaking to Panasonic, I think they are still adhering to their own philosophy of not actually adding any unnecessary picture processing to the picture. The image on screen may look slightly softer and may get them less points than other TVs which will render pictures in a sharper manner. But it will also give a softer, more analog look that is more cinematic, and this may appeal to some of you purists, certainly me out there. Another unique selling point of Panasonic OLED is its true game mode. Now, of course, most other game modes on the market can have low latency, but in terms of actually supporting the creative intent, in terms of adhering or targeting D65 white point, in terms of hard clipping at panel peak to support source-based tone mapping, with true game mode on the Panasonic TV, once you select that, it will automatically go into the low latency mode to achieve the lowest input lag. It will automatically set the HDR tone mapping to clipping so that you don't actually perform double tone mapping. You allow for source-based tone mapping or an HDRG-like scenario so that you can get the greatest HDR impact from playing HDRG compliant games and even any games that let you set the peak brightness in-game, and you get that warm color temperature, D65 color temperature that is commonly used within the film and broadcast and increasingly gaming industry. So one last thing I really want to mention is that For those of you who are watching from the USA, I believe that Panasonic is the only OLED brand that provides compatibility with all the major HDR formats. It supports vanilla HDR10, it supports HLG, it supports HDR10 Plus Adaptive, it supports Dolby Vision IQ with precision detailing. And also, they will support Netflix calibrated mode, they will support Prime Video calibrated mode as well. In Europe, Philips will also offer multi-HDR support, but certainly for the States, Panasonic is the only OLED brand that supports all the key HDR formats, which may be important to some of you out there. Now, if you're undecided about which OLED TV to buy, one place where you can get good advice is at Richard Sounds, a trusted British AV retailer with more than 50 stores in the UK, who provides 6 years warranty on the vast majority of TVs you purchase if you join the company's VIP club. You'll get the best deals through cheaper VIP exclusive in-store only prices, complimentary gifts or freebies. So go visit your local Richard Sounds store or call Telesales for your next TV purchase. Thanks again for your support. Okay, the Panasonic Z95B will use the latest generation 4-stack Primary RGB Tandem panel from LG Display. To find out how this technology can increase the peak brightness and also widen the color gamut, please watch my explanation video by clicking here.